Next on Worcester News Tonight, students at a local high school are not happy over the removal of a poster put up inside the school as part of the Black History celebration. Plus, the Worcester Art Museum displaying a painting by the first African-American artist to achieve international acclaim. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Anna Botari. Students at Worcester's Kelley are upset about the removal of a Colin Kaepernick poster inside the school. The photo was put up as part of a Black History celebration. Some in the school took offense to the painting, which resulted in the students taking it down. But now members of the student council are asking it be put back in its spot. Our Cam Jandro joins us now live with those details. Cam?
Anna, this poster was a collaboration of a number of students, and they say their poster is being misinterpreted as an anti-police sort of message, but they say they were just trying to best represent what they feel is the most accurate way to depict modern Black America. This poster of Colin Kaepernick was on the walls of Worcester's Kelley Foster Charter High School, but its creators took it down almost immediately after an assistant principal saw it.
He goes on to say that he has police members in his family and he took offense to the poster.
The painting of the former NFL quarterback is surrounded by photos of those who died at the hands of police. Students William Gatow and Nalia Evans wanted to show what they believe to be a realistic interpretation of Black history.
But they don't really get into detail about the negative that's happening in the Black community right now.
It needs to be sugar-coated for students, but then again, we're high school students, and I feel like we should be able to have these conversations.
Student council member Safi Patel stood alongside her classmates Tuesday.
I'm here in solidarity of my Black peers, knowing that our administration has not respected or even acknowledged the realities of Black Americans in modern day America.
In a statement, Kelley's executive director, Brian Haas, says, "We are also reaching out to the other students and families who have participated in the discussion via social media. We think it is important for students and members of the administration to talk about and understand each other's perspective." After taking the poster down, the students say they were asked to consider creating a pro-police poster to go alongside the Kaepernick piece.
We feel that that's going to take away from the message of what that poster is trying to send.
I can easily remove any one of these people's pictures with another Black person. And I feel like we need to take the steps to make sure that doesn't happen.
When the students head back to school Monday, their hope is the entire school now understands the poster's motive.
These are people at the end of the day, and these are people that lost their life.
I think a lot of people are getting caught up on Colin Kaepernick being the face of this whole poster without looking into what he stands for and what he's symbolic of.
Now, in that statement, the school also mentioned the poster will be able to go back up on the wall when the students return from vacation on Monday. They also said the administration as well as the students will be hosting a meeting to discuss the issues. Anna.
Thanks, Kim. A Worcester police sergeant is found not responsible by a jury after he was accused of using excessive force during a drug raid in 2014. According to Worcester Police, attorney Hector Pinero had filed the lawsuit in federal court on behalf of Jose Ortiz, who accused Worcester Police Sergeant Stephen Roach. City Manager Edward Augustus says the decision by the jury confirms our belief that the Worcester Police Department is a professional, well-trained department. I have confidence in our officers' ability to exercise restraint even when involved in tense, dangerous situations. The Secretary of Education's proposed changes to Title IX is receiving mixed reviews. The federal law prohibits discrimination on the basis of sex in a federally funded school or education program. The rule changes include a tighter definition of sexual misconduct, reduced responsibility for colleges to investigate complaints, and the right for advisors on all sides to cross-examine those involved. Quinsigamond Community College President Luis Pedraja says there are pros and cons to the proposal.
I do think that it's a matter of balance of how do you ensure due process while ensuring also that people who feel they've been harassed or assaulted or victimized in some ways will be willing to speak up.
In order to make these proposed rules legally binding, the department must go through a notice and comment process, allowing people to voice their opinions on it. Millbury police investigating a swatting incident at a restaurant in town. The department's chief says a man claimed to be armed threatened to shoot up the Wheelock Inn. The call prompted a large police presence around 1 a.m. Tuesday morning. Our Chandler Walsh has the details.
Police took the call seriously, responding to the surrounding neighborhood and here inside the Wheelock Inn. The Millbury Police Department says it's fortunate no one was hurt and it was all a hoax.
I have a gun and I want to shoot everyone here.
Okay, sir. Well, don't do that. How about you and I talk, okay?
Police surround the Wheelock Inn in Millbury after a threatening call. When officers arrived at the inn after 1 in the morning, the building was closed for the night.
Tied up quite a few officers just because someone had nothing else better to do this morning.
Police say the call ended up being a hoax, but they had to take it seriously. Over the phone, the caller identified himself as Paul and said he was in the Wheelock Inn bathroom. Before hanging up, he told dispatch there was no chance.
Send everyone.
Hey, Paul, stay on.
Owner Stephen Nawalski woke up to police knocking on his door. He went with them to unlock the building. He's owned restaurants for decades and says nothing like this has ever happened.
It didn't seem right, but we came down, you have to do what you got to do, especially when someone threatens to shooting people. Like, you see what's going on, and it's just people just don't think. They do stupid things.
The incident drained police resources. Every Millbury officer on shift responded. State police and officers from Worcester and Grafton were also on scene to assist. Millbury Chief Donald DeSorcy says swatting incidents like this are serious and costly.
We're busy enough with the everyday calls. We could have had other calls that came in, and there probably would have been a delay in response to those calls, medical calls, etc., or fire calls. We have them all the time. That could have catastrophic effects to someone else who has absolutely nothing to do with this whole situation.
The department is investigating where the call came from. DeSorcy says it showed up as an Ohio number, but he doesn't believe it was from out of state.
I don't believe that that's accurate. There's ways to manipulate that information, and I'm sure that's what happened this morning.
Chief DeSorcy says they're hoping to find the caller soon and bring criminal charges against him. In Millbury, Chandler Walsh, Worcester News Tonight.
For a short time only, the Worcester Art Museum has a piece on display by a man who became the first African-American artist to achieve international acclaim. Henry Ossawa Tanner's painting of the angel Gabriel telling Mary she's giving birth to Christ is on loan from the Philadelphia Museum of Art. Assistant curator Erin Corrales-Diaz says Tanner was one of the first African-American students to enroll at the Pennsylvania Academy of Fine Arts. Before finishing, he moved to France, where he created this painting. Corrales-Diaz says this is a special piece to visit the museum.
African-American artists, particularly of the 19th and 18th centuries, so it means a lot to us to borrow a work from another institution so that we can share it with our local community, and it transforms the gallery spaces.
The piece will be on display until February 25th. The city of Worcester says more than 400 vehicles were towed after the most recent snowstorm. DPW issues declared winter parking bans during almost every storm to help make room for plows and emergency vehicles to get through. If cars are not moved, they're either ticketed or towed. Worcester's fire department says getting to an emergency call can be difficult if drivers don't follow the bans.
On a normal day, some of these streets in the city of Worcester, as most people know, are very, very tight. Cars parked on both sides of the street. It's already difficult to get down the road. Now when you have snow involved, if you're narrowing that street any further because of the snow, makes it all that much harder.
The city sometimes offers free parking in garages for people who need to move their cars. The ban generally restricts parking to one side of the street, but there are areas where parking is not allowed on either side during a declared ban. A Massachusetts lawmaker files a bill to direct any funds recouped from General Electric to vocational schools in the state. GE announced last week it was scaling back plans for its world headquarters in Boston, scrapping plans for a new office tower and reducing its anticipated workforce in the city from 800 to 250. The company promised to reimburse the state $87 million. State Senator Eric Lesser filed legislation to also include any other companies receiving incentives to relocate to Massachusetts who then fail to make good on their promises. A heartwarming end to the season for a high school basketball team in Uxbridge. The team manager taking to the court for the first time all season, and his performance was definitely one to remember. Our Rosalind Flaherty has the story.
This is the moment 15-year-old Jaden Morales says he'll remember forever. He scored the final 10 points for Uxbridge High School's JV basketball team.
I was really proud and excited because I didn't even know that would happen.
The sophomore at Uxbridge High School has Asperger's syndrome and is the JV's team manager. In the last game of the season against St. Bernard's, he received a jersey and the players made him feel like he was part of the team.
I didn't even expect it to happen at all.
His mom, Jennifer, didn't know the special moment was going to happen and quickly pulled out her phone to record.
I was like a baby bawling in tears, so happy for him and so touched by what all the players did on both teams.
She says it hasn't always been easy for Jaden.
I always tend to worry about him because he is different. He had trouble last year with a few kids picking on him.
But she now knows how many kids appreciate him. Jaden says he's thankful for what the team did and lives by his idol John Cena's slogan.
John Cena always says to never give up, and that's what I do. I never give up.
What a great story. That was our Rosalind Flaherty reporting. Northbridge's school committee gives the Friends of LaSalle Field their support for a one-year capital expenditure to renovate the athletic field. Members voted 4-0 last week. Right now, their Friends of LaSalle Field are looking at close to $3 million to replace the grass field with synthetic turf, redesign the fields so they would be appropriate size for field hockey and lacrosse, as well as football and soccer, and make other improvements. According to the Friends of LaSalle Field, the cost of the renovations would end up saving the town more than $430,000 over the 12-year lifespan of the turf. A Worcester man is charged with robbing the same Subway restaurant 3 different times in less than a month. He's being held on $10,000 after his arraignment today. 24-year-old William Wally is charged with 3 counts of armed robbery while masked. Prosecutors say the suspect matched the same description in each robbery: a tall, masked man with a large kitchen knife demanding money from the register. Wally's due back in court March 18th. If he does post bail, he's ordered to stay away from the witnesses against him. Coming up next, we'll get a full look at our local forecast. Plus, getting more girls involved